Hi, Salam Alaikum, sisters and brothers. Sulaiman Rahim here, Messenger of the Covenant, Breaker of the Seven Seals. Let's bring in our audio, brothers and sisters. The Black Alert section of the Fire Zone. This is the Black Alert section of the Fire Zone. Brothers and sisters, we're going to be talking about the big lie. It's a clear lie. See, but they're hoping that you remain programmed and you won't take the time to read. Because if you do that, the lie will be exposed. As I've been telling you, brothers and sisters, the truth is all over the place. You just need to take those fog glasses off. Because you think the world's all foggy because you got fog glasses on. You take them off, the truth is all over the place. It's very clear. It's a bright, clear day. See? Like I said, for those, if you want to use a dark analogy, right? There's light switches all over the wall. Thousands of them. All you got to just flip one, turn the light on. But you prefer to walk in the darkness because you've been programmed to walk in the darkness. So we're going to talk about Israel, the big lie. Now, I'm going to show you some things, brothers. I'm going to show you the scriptures that speaks directly to that. See, we can go to the one about where Jesus got into it with them when they decided they were going to get rid of them. We told them that they weren't the seed of Abraham. They was liars, right? They was murderers, right? Their father was the devil. See, they ignore that. See, now that's Jesus talking. The person they say is God, they ignore that. See, but it's right there. And they said, because he says, know the truth and truth shall make you free. And they said, what do you mean? Talking about free. We've never been enslaved to anyone. And they claim that this Exodus thing happened 4,000 years ago. And Jesus was talking to them 2,000 years ago. They said that never happened in the past. They telling you that never happened in the past to us. But they go around telling you today, that happened in the past. That's talking about us. They said, it's right there. It's right in your scripture. In the so-called New Testament, they said that they was never in prison anywhere, right? And Jesus says to them directly, right, that your father's the devil. He said, you are liars, you're murderers. See? He said, you ain't the true seed of Abraham. And then later, Jesus said, well, I know you're the true seed of Abraham. So it means he made a liar out of himself. Obviously, somebody tampered with something there. Because first he says, you're not the seed of Abraham. And then later he says, I know you're the seed of Abraham. So you're going to make Jesus a liar? See, they had to put something in there to cover that. Because that was a clear statement. And that's when they said, we got to get rid of this man. So we're going to go through a couple of verses here. See? That's clear. Because we're trying to open your eyes, brothers and sisters, the true seed of Abraham here in America, trying to open your eyes before it's too late. See? Because they programmed you to not listen to anything like this. You was programmed 400 years ago, from 1555 to 1619. It took 64 years to program you, and in 1619, the first Negro butts came off the assembly line, fully engraved with master's seal. So you went in Kunta Kinte and you came out Toby. See? You come out Jeffrey Richardson. See? Tommy Baldhead. See? Jamie Smotherface. And you're proud of those names. But they weren't names, they were brands to show who you was owned by. Because when they sold you to another master, if you was Jamie Jackface and your master was named Master Oppenheimer, then your name became Jamie Oppenheimer. That was because that was a brand, not a name. But you programmed to accept all of that, and most of you accepting it because we got two categories in America right now. We got the demons, that's master seed. They says 34 million black folks in America, but 17 of them, according to AL-INJIL, half of them are demons. That means there's master seed. They're not out. They're skin folk. They're not kin folks. Their heart and soul is to master. See, and they're successful in this society because this environment was made by master, and for those like him to be successful in. So you see them in the movies, in sports, right, and politics, everything else, because they rapped with master. They was in master's house when you was in the fields. You don't understand that, and they tell you, oh, you can be like us. See, they're supposed to be a role model. So you're trying to be like them. You're never gonna be like them. You're never gonna be like Oprah. You're never gonna be like Denzel, because this is not your reality. See, your time has come, right, and their time is over, but you gotta take advantage of your time, and they're trying to do everything they can to make you not do that. See, so they're successful because this society made for them. See, and you're not, because the society wasn't made for you. See, so they're master seed. They was in master's house when you was in the fields, and so they had better food, better clothes, and everything else. And master tell you, hey, if you be good nigga, you can be in a house like them. He was never gonna let you in the house because you wasn't his children. He couldn't trust you. So you got the demons, half demon, half man, because you are whatever your father is. You started out as a sperm. You can't get around that. Don't listen to lying-ass Farrakhan say, well, one drop of blood makes you black. It might make you black, but don't make you part of us. Don't make you original. And that's skin tone. That's wolves in sheep clothing. That's the chaff sowed amongst the wheat. See, you might look like, but you're gonna act like, because you listen to them. They sound like. If you didn't know, if you didn't see them, you think they were devils, because they sound just like them. They want to be with them. They do everything they can with them. They want to marry them. They want to live with them. They moved out of the suburbs with them and everything else. And then you got the Negro butts. See, that's the original people, but they've been trained. You've been programmed. See, they do whatever. That's what does robot? Robot doesn't think he does whatever he's told. He's wound up and told whatever to do. He's programmed. You've been programmed, and we're going to try to deprogram you. Elijah Muhammad deprogrammed thousands, hundreds of thousands, and that was a problem for them. And before he departed, before the dust was settled, they brought Farrakhan in to reprogram you again. See. Not, oh, you don't know, don't tell you about the Abrahamic covenant. No, you got to stand in America. You got to love America. You got to bring devils in. We're going to make a home here. We're going to get reparations, all that kind of stuff. Brothers and sisters, I talk about this. I'm not going to go, I'm not going to talk about it here. I talked about this in previous presentations. So let's go look. Let's take a look. See, everything we say we can prove here. Let's look at this. The abomination of desolation. I'm going to read this for you. When you see Jerusalem surrounded by soldiers, I'm giving you two translations. There's several translations. So I'm going to give you two because they're going to be a little different. Same thing. So I'm going to do that. But you can go and see other translations. Now, normally they say surrounded by armies. So we're going to go with, that's just one. If you go out, you see a lot of translations, right? The transliteral is the best because it's not interpretive. They read it and try to figure out what it means, then write down what they think it means. That's interpretive. You don't want that because they're going to have their bias and everything built into it. But transliteral, they just change. See the word, they change the word. And the cheapest one, and we don't cost you anything, is the one that Jehovah's Witnesses have, right? See, they have a transliteral, but But most of you don't have a transliteral. So I'm just going to speak. This is one of these is King James version, and one is American Standard, I believe. Right? So, when you see Jerusalem surrounded by soldiers, you know that it will soon be destroyed. Hold it now. Think about that. Who is Jerusalem? Who lives in Jerusalem now? Who controls Jerusalem? Not the Arabs. Those people that call themselves Jews. They're the ones that have Jerusalem. And so when you see surrounded by soldiers or armies, you know that it will soon be destroyed. That means they're going to be destroyed. They ain't reading that. They tell you, oh, when you see that happen, right? That means Jesus is going to come and save them. They're going to be redeemed, right? All the Jews are going to accept Jesus. They're going to be saved. They're going to be redeemed, right? And then they're going to go and get rid of all the Muslims and all that kind of stuff. That's what they tell you. Listen to what they say on that. This is not what they're saying. They distort the whole thing. It's telling you very clearly, the Jews, Israel is going to be destroyed. And that cannot happen if they're true seed Abraham. Read it for yourself, but I'm not messing with this. I say this truth is so clear. Stop the bullshit. The truth is so clear. They just don't want you to read it. They count on you not reading it. They count on you watching NBA and NFL. They count on you not reading it. And they're right. Because if you just read that, tells you that clears up everything right there. They say they're false because they're about to be destroyed. And they say that's not going to happen. Because they're true seed Abraham, they cannot be destroyed. God said when they return, they will not be destroyed. God will protect them forever. And this is telling you that's the actual verse. They know you're not going to read it. When you see Jerusalem surrounded by soldiers, you will know that it will soon be destroyed. And that war is about to take place. That means they're going to be destroyed. And if they destroy, what does that mean? That means they're not the true seed of Abraham. That means we are. And you're going to understand that when we read further. If you are living in Judea at this time, run to the mountains. If you are in a city, leave it. If you are out in the country, don't go back into the city. This is time of punishment is what is written about in the scriptures. It will be an awful time for women who are expecting babies or nursing young children. Everywhere in the land, people will suffer horribly and be punished. Some of them will be killed by swords. Others will be carried off to foreign lands. Jerusalem will be overrun by foreign nations until their time comes to an end. This destruction is coming to Israel, false Israel. That destruction is coming to them. And they're telling you to flee. That flee part, see, you have to understand the angel to understand what they mean. But it's talking to you. You're going to have to flee. Because once they realize that, because that's the lie they put up there in 1948, to override where Elijah Muhammad said that we're the true seed of Abraham. They had to put up false Israel to overcome that narrative. And when that's destroyed, that means they're not. That means you really are. And when they find you, they're going to have to take on. Immediately, the word going to go out with these evangelicals and everything, and they kill you. Because it tells you that punishment and everything that they're suffering is because of you. So they're going to try to eradicate you. That's a little more complicated, but you don't have to go there. The top is enough. The top is enough to identify that they're not who they are. They're the synagogue of Satan, like it says it says those who are Jews who say they are Jews and not. The synagogue of Satan. They're telling you right there. See, I told you, bro, says this you don't have to go out and get a computer. It tells you right there. Who's controlling Jerusalem? Not the Arabs, not the Palestinians. See? When they get surrounded, they're going to be destroyed. Jesus is not coming to help them. He comes to destroy them. Let's move on to the next one. This is the same thing, just a different translation, right? See here, when you see Jerusalem surrounded by armies, they say armies in this case, right? You would know that its desolation means its destruction is near. Who is surrounding Jerusalem? He said, when you see it surrounded, that means they're getting ready to go to war over there. And it says, when America and Britain is kicked out, right? They're going to be isolated and under siege. That's what it means. They're going to be surrounded. They'll be under siege, right? That's what I've been telling you. Right? Then let those who are in Judea flee to the mountains, and those in the city get out, and those in the country not enter the city. For this time of punishment in fulfillment of all that has been written. How dreadful it would be in those days for pregnant women and nursing mothers. There will be great distress in the land and wrath upon this people. That false Israel is wrath upon them, not redemption. This is clear. So how come they're destroying it? Because they know you're not going to read it. They're telling you just the opposite of what the scriptures say. They say when you see that, that means Jesus will come back and he's going to redeem everybody, redeem them, and they're going to accept Jesus, right? And that's going to be the Armageddon. That's what they're telling you, but that's not what the scriptures say. Because they're telling you what the scriptures say, and you believe in it. Read it yourself. I'm not changing anything. See? There will be great distress in the land and wrath upon this people. I mean, how can it be any clearer, brother and sister? You're the true seed of Abraham. That's the big lie that they're telling you. Because they don't want you to know it. Because that means that messes their whole mindset. Because they tell you you're Ham. You was born to be, you was cursed black by Noah, right? And you was made that because their kids say, where did black people come from? And they tell a story about Noah. You was cursed black and made to be a slave forever. So that means when they enslave you, they didn't do anything wrong. And then America's a promise. You ever heard them say they call America the promised land? Because they say that's the promised land promised by Abraham. So getting rid of these Native Americans, that's like getting rid of rats and roaches, man. You say, you occupying our land. You sit on our land. And so they feel they didn't do anything wrong. They're doing God's will. So they're good, holy, good people. But if you are a true seed of Abraham, that whole bullshit falls flat. Instantly. That means they're nothing but rapists, murderers, genocidal maniacs, thieves, and robbers. It says exactly what it says. The devils go out to kill, steal, and destroy. How did they get this land? They stole it. What they do is inhabitants. They kill them. And what they do to us, they destroyed us as a nation. Brothers, this is clear stuff. You ain't gonna get this no place else. And the point is, they know that you got a Bible, but you don't read it. So read this. They're telling you just the opposite of what this is saying. See, it says, then let those who are in Judea flee to the mountains. Let those in the city get out. Let those in the country not enter the city. For this time of punishment and fulfillment that has been written. How dreadful it be in those days for pregnant women, nursing mothers, the great distress of the land, and wrath upon this people. They wrath upon them. God's wrath on them. Because they faced this identity theft. And they had a big part in this in our enslavement because they was the they financed slavery. They financed the boats and ships. They want to hide all that now. They was the biggest slaves of all. They had super slave plantations. See, they don't want you to know all this stuff. They would fall by the sword and be taken as prisoners to all the nations. Jerusalem would be trampled by the Gentiles at time of the until the Gentiles are fulfilled. So it's telling you, if it's trampled by the Gentiles, remember, because the Jews, everybody else is Gentiles. You understand? So it means who's being trampled down? The Jews. The Jews say everybody else that's not Jewish is Gentiles. So it says the Jews will be trampled down by Gentiles. So if the Gentiles doing the trampling, that means they're trampling down Jews. Brothers and sisters, I'm just keep this short because I don't need to talk long on this one. This speaks for itself. If you got a brain, you better start deprogram. You can deprogram yourself, brothers and sisters. All you got to do is start asking questions and stop accepting BS. Everything they tell you, check it, edit, and see if it's a fact. If it's not a fact, you can't prove it. Tell them to get the hell out of your face. And go back, look at all the stuff they've been telling you all your life and say, check it out and see, does this make sense? Is this provable? And start deprogramming yourself. Because your life on life, this war with Russia, this thing with Russia and Ukraine, that's not it. That's not what's going to trigger Armageddon. That's not what trigger. I tell everybody, calm down. See? But it's warming up because the war with Russia will take place. But this ain't it here. See? It's going to blow up in the Middle East. That Iran, they keep talking about there's 3 main hotspots right now. China and Taiwan. Russia, right? Ukraine, and the Middle East with false Israel and Iran. And that's the one that's going to trigger it. When that war is going to take place, they say that war will take place anytime. Once that war takes place, that's what's going to trigger Armageddon. See? Because they think that false Israel is going to win that war. And they tell you ain't. They tell you they're not going to win. They're going to lose. They're going to be destroyed. See? And when they do, and America and Britain is kicked out, see, that's that story about in chapter 12, when Michael's angels go against the dragon's angels. When they're kicked out, and they're going to leave Israel exposed and under siege, undefended. See, and they're going to close and take under siege, and it's going to be hell on earth there. They say it's going to be so bad. I don't know how long the siege is going to last. It's not going to last that long, but it says it's going to be long enough that people are going to be so hungry they'll be eating their own children. And they're going to take it down. That's why when you see Jerusalem surrounded by armies, its destruction is near. That means not yet, but it's close. That gives you enough time to get hell out of Dodge, to flee. We'll talk about that in the next page. See? That's what the story is, brothers and sisters. See? So what happens is that they got to explain how in the hell did America and Britain get defeated by Iran and Syria. They can say because, remember, Russia is allied with Iran. It was Russia's fault. That's how they get into it with Russia. And then they get into the war in Europe. It's going to be held. It's going to be all kind of confusion here in America. I'm not going to get into that. But that's the 9 plagues that they're talking about. See, it's 10 plagues altogether. But the first plague has already taken place. The 9 plagues, that's the war. See? And they're telling you, if you read chapter 18 closely, NATO, Eastern Europe, Western Europe, whatever you want to call it, right? EU, they're going to turn against America. They're going to turn on Russia's side. So America will be over there in the war, and they taken down on every side. And they're going to be trying to drag you over there. This ain't your war, brothers and sisters. Why you keep fighting the devil's war? They created this war for themselves. But they're going to be dragging you. I'm not going to go into all the details, but I've talked about it in the previous presentation. But they're going to be dragging you over there, right? They're going to dragging you over there, right? And you ain't coming back. Because Americans get totally devastated over there. That's going to be Armageddon. European countries are going to be tearing themselves apart. But it's going to open the door for China and India to become superpowers, and they're going to finish off the job. That's another story. I'm not going to go there here. Okay. So it says they'll be trampled down by the Gentiles. So in the Jewish world, there's only 2 types of people. There's the Gentiles and Jews. That means the Gentiles are trampling down the Jews. So isn't that clear enough for you? Okay, let's move to the next one. Now, remember, both of these are the same verses. It's just different translations. Now we'll go to another, this one. See? Now they're talking about the same thing. I think this is Mark or Matthew. I should have put that up there. But you can Google it, right? Here, okay. So when you see standing in the holy place the abomination that causes desolation. See, they're an abomination because they pretend to be something they're not. See, as spoken of through the prophet Daniel, right? Let the reader understand. Then let those who are in Judea flee to the mountains. Then see, it's talking about the same thing. Flee to the mountains. It's the same thing, but it's talking about from a different perspective. Let no one in the house go down to take anything out of the house. Let no one in the field go back to get their cloak. How dreadful it be in those days for pregnant women and nursing mother. Pray your flight will not take place in winter or Sabbath, for then there will be great distress unequaled from the beginning of the world until now, and never be equaled again. As time of unprecedented trouble. That's another way of saying unprecedented. That's what it's talking about, the same thing. And it's calling them the abomination. When you see stay in a holy place, see, that means they're the abomination. They stand over in a holy place in Jerusalem. That's a holy place, but they're standing there pretending us. When you see standing in a holy place, the abomination that causes desolation, that's them. And they stand in a holy place. Another time it says, if you see them standing where they should not be. See? It's the same thing, but it's talking about from a different perspective. So if you don't get it the other way, you should get it this way. See? Destruction for them. When they say pregnant, they don't mean women that's actually pregnant. They're talking about, you have to understand the angel for that. Right? Let's go to the next one. And the next one is the same as this, just from a different perspective. So when you see standing in the holy place, the abomination that caused desolation, as spoken of by the prophet Daniel, let the reader understand. Let those who are in Judea flee to the mountain. Let no one housetop go down, take anything out of the house, no one in the field go back, take their cloak. So it's saying virtually the same thing as the other one said. It's a different translation, but it's saying the same thing. So why are you fleeing? It's telling you, see? You don't understand this verse. It's telling you to flee. Why is it telling you to flee? It says, don't go get your coat, don't go and get your baby, don't get anything, just flee. Because in their minds, see, let's think this through now. They've been telling everybody that we're Ham, we're born to be slaves. We're not true seed Abraham, they are. Right? They put false Israel up there to confirm it, to prove it. Right? And that keeps their mind, right? Salve for their mind, right? Comfort for their mind, that they're the spiritual seed of Abraham, and that this is the promised land. So they ain't doing anything wrong. That we was born to be slaves, so they ain't do anything wrong there. So they good people, they God's people. See? And then suddenly they found that you the true seed of Abraham. Because when false Israel goes down, there's no other conclusion. And the evangelicals, see, at that time, just before they go down, they're going to say, yeah, they're going to be so excitement in the world because they tell everybody, man, why Jesus coming back? That means Jesus come back because they can't take false Israel down. False Israel is going to be under siege. That's what see. When you see it, that destruction is nigh. So they're going to be oh man, see, they're going to be excited. Jesus coming. That means Jesus coming. He's going to come and save them, and he's going to get rid of the Arabs and all that kind of stuff. They're going to be so excited. You see? And then Jesus don't come and false Israel is destroyed, which cannot happen if they true see Abraham. That means they're going to calculate in a second. Because they put him up there to stop the counter Elijah Muhammad's statement that we're true seed Abraham. That's the whole reason false Israel is put there. So now they're destroyed, which cannot happen if they're the true seed Abraham, because it says once they return, they will not be destroyed. They will never be destroyed. God will protect them. So if they destroyed, that means there was a lie. That means the truth is us. And at this time, America, when this happened, that's when America is going to be at war in Europe. Once false is at siege at the same time, I don't know how long it's going to take, a week, 2 weeks, whatever, America going to be at war in Europe because remember, they just got kicked out of the Middle East. And so they got to blame somebody, they blame Russia, they at war in Europe. Now they are at war in Europe. And over here, they got all kinds of conflict over here. I'm not going to talk about it, right? But those 9 plagues are the war. Read chapter 18. It says it would take place in 1 day or 1 year. That war Armageddon. So what's happening is that you got all this conflict, and then they realize, Israel's gone, America's at war, they got all this kind of turmoil going over here, right, in America. See? Famine's on the way, they're going to have food shortage, they got all kinds of stuff going, they got all kinds of insurrection stuff going on here in America. They got all kinds of stuff going on, right? So it's confusion here and war there. And they're really getting their ass kicked. See, because all the people they thought was their friends turned against them. NATO turned against them. The EU turned against them. See? And I'll give you a little brief reason why that is. I want to keep this short. You have to put the pieces together. Right now, Germany is the most powerful European country right now, outside of Russia, right? Not with nuclear weapons, but they're the most powerful economically and everything else. They are totally dependent upon the oil from Russia and from the Middle East. Russia and the Middle East. A lot of European countries are in that situation, right? Okay. So, when America and Britain is kicked out, because that's what they said. They says, men's hearts be failing for fear of those things coming upon the earth. That means European countries. Because the powers of the heavens will be shaken. See, you think that's talking about somewhere out there. I mean, if it is, how would you, if heaven is somewhere beyond the stars, how are you going to see that it's shaken? They're talking about the Middle East. So the powers of heaven be shaken means who has the power in the Middle East right now? America, Britain, and false Israel. That means, and false Israel, that means their powers going to be they're broken. So now they're cast out. So now, the Shia, Iran, is victorious along with Syria. They control all the Middle East, all of it. All the oil. So now that cuts Europe off from that supply because they was behind America and Britain in that war. So they cut off. So now they totally depend upon Russia. But now America's at war with Russia. And it says the European economy is going to collapse right just like that. Because as soon as they cut off from the oil and they can't get it from Russia, the economy collapses. That's read chapter 18. The economy collapses just like that overnight. Bam. So the only way they can recover is get oil from America, when America's not going to give them any oil. They said, we're at war because they're getting their ass kicked over there, right? And so they said the only way they can get it is from Russia. So they're going to have to help Russia. They're going to have to turn against America, right, to get the economy because it's going to be cold and everything else, right? And they're going to need fuel. And the only way they're going to get it is going to get it from Russia. So they're going to have to ally with Russia, right, against America to survive. Hope you understand that. Just put the piece together. See? So they're going to turn against America, be on their own. And now they're fighting, they're getting their ass kicked over there. And the Europeans all together, America's part of Europeans, right? They're destroying themselves. Who benefits from that? Because when they kill each other, they destroying their planes, destroying their boats, their ships, destroying their men, right, and women, their troops, right? See, then Europeans are destroying themselves. So who benefits from that? China and India. So when they get finished destroying themselves, then China and India moves in and finishes off the job. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. This is on the horizon. This is the truth, not this bullshit they're telling you. Oh man, well, no, this is not Armageddon, this war that's going on right now. This is not it. I keep telling you, calm down, that's not it. It is what follows behind it. See, the war, because they said 3 hot zones right now, if you're paying attention to news, China and Taiwan, Russia, right, and the Middle East. 3 hot zones. I've been talking about this for 30 years. You can go back and check it. I've been warning about this day for 30 years. Now we're here. See? But the sequence is out. They think the thing with Russia is first. No. The first thing that'll go down is the war in the Middle East. That's going down first. Then the war with Russia. And one nearly simultaneous, right, will be China going to take Taiwan while the Europeans are tearing themselves apart because they ain't got time to mess with Taiwan. And there's going to be other changes too. Africa going to split up in two. Africa going to come. We're split up in 2 parts. Most of the countries coming together. There's going to be 2 African nations: the Islamic African nation and the non-Islamic African nation. Going to be two. It's going to be divided in 2 nations. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. But just read this. Deprogram yourself. There's no way you can come out reading this and not see that false Israel is going to be destroyed. That's not what they're telling you. They're telling you just the opposite. They read the same thing you read. You not read it. And so because there's no way you can come to translation, interpretation. They're saying there's no way you can come to that interpretation if you read it because it's very clear. Jerusalem is going to be destroyed. Who controls Jerusalem? See? Not the Gentiles, because tell the Gentiles going to be from the Jews' point of view, there's only the Jews and Gentiles, and the Gentiles are going to be stamping down the Jews. They're going to be destroyed. And once they're destroyed, then it's going to be clear that we're the true seed of Abraham. And America's going through all this turmoil, all this hell they're catching, and they're going to realize it's doing it because of you, because of us. And the word going to go out with the evangelicals, get them. It's going to be clear. And that's why it's telling you to flee. Don't waste time, because it ain't going to be an army, it ain't going to be a police force, it's going to be your neighbors going to come and cut your throat. The people you think you love, they think you they say, they're going to kill you. Why? Read about the 9 plagues. The first plague was supposed to take place right after the enslavement, the 400-year enslavement. When did the enslavement start? That's why they're trying to see all this stuff. 2020, everything changed because they knew exactly what was going on. 1619 to 2019, 400 years. 2020 would be a plague that would kill the firstborn, which is the same thing as the elderly, and would pass over you. And that's exactly what happened. But they try to lie, try to say it was killing you too. And they was lying about that because just go and check Google it, check the World Health Organization. They said a couple of weeks ago, maybe a month ago, they said they could not understand why this plague was not affecting Africa, Haiti, and places where blacks mostly live. That's including us. But they was telling us, we would drop like flies over here. It was a lie. It was a percentage. They don't talk about that anymore because it was a lie. We got exposed. You see. Maybe the demons were. Their children, their black-faced children, but we weren't. It didn't say we wouldn't get it. It said it wouldn't kill us. It would pass over us. And once they saw that, the Jews saw it, they knew exactly what that meant. And all of a sudden, everybody, they want to do everything for you now. They want reparation. They want all this stuff. Oh, they want so nice to you now. You see? Everything's changed since then. So that was the first plague. And then following that would be the 9 other plagues. And the last plague would be the one that forced them to let you out of here. And the 9 plagues represents that war. I've already put a presentation out explaining that. The 9 plagues, right, are is the war of Armageddon on Europe. They're going to be plagued. It's going to be catching so much hell. That's why it says in chapter 18, it says, in one day all your plagues will come. All the plagues are going to be on Babylon, which is America and Europe. But specifically America. America will be the one that's focused. Europe is part of it, but they're part of the plague themselves. But America is going to be the target of those plagues. And that's where we're going to exit here. See? And I can go more. We can talk about this for hours. I'm just giving you the basic. Just read this, brothers and sisters. I'm just keep it simple. There's no way you can read this and not come to the conclusion that we the true seed of Abraham. Well, forget about that part. There's no way you can come to the conclusion that false Israel is that you cannot come to that conclusion that they're a lie, because it's telling you right there, it's clear. When Jerusalem is surrounded by armies, their destruction is near. It didn't say that the attempted destruction. It didn't say their redemption. It said their destruction. It said they'd be trampled down by the Gentiles until they destroyed. It says wrath is upon them. So how you going to come up with, oh man, they the true seed of Abraham and God, and they're going to be surrounded. God's going to come and save, redeem. Where you get it? Read that. Where you find it in there? It ain't in there nowhere. But that's what they're trying to tell you. Because they don't want you to know who you are. They know who you are. See, but they don't want the general public to understand, because once it's like a person, I've made this analogy. A person is ugly as hell. I mean, they're ugly. They was born ugly, but ugly. But they never seen themselves. They never seen a mirror. So everybody trying to be nice. Oh man, you're really beautiful. Man, you see, and they walk around life, head up. They think they're beautiful because everybody telling them. They're wearing nice clothes and everything because they think they're beautiful. Because everybody tell them how beautiful they are. Then one day they run to a mirror. Oh, what the hell is that? And then they realize they've been lied to and that they're ugly as hell. And that's what's about to happen. See? Because we're going to be that mirror, because they're going to run out that we the true seed of Abraham. And they lie. And they're ugly as hell. And they're rapers. They're not God's chosen. They're not apple of God's eye. They're evil. They're wicked. They're destroyers. They kill, steal, and destroy. That's what Jesus said. He says, you're murderers and liars from the beginning. Your father's the devil. That's what he said they were. And now they come to face. That's who they are. And when they do that, right, not just them, but our captors who enslaved us and did the worst treatment that they could ever done to any people ever in the entire universe, time of the universe. And so now they realize who they are, because they pretend now, oh, we good people. But now they find they're ugly as hell. They're devils. And that God's going to destroy them. That this hell they talk about, that everybody else going to, they going to. What you think that calculus was made just like that? And the evangelicals, preachers going to be telling them, hey, you got to get rid of these people. That's the call going to go out instantly. That's why I tell you to flee. That's what I'm trying to tell you, brothers and sisters. We better get ready. They're going to cut your throat. They'll knock on your door and boom. Oh, daddy got his head blow up. Oh, they just blow mama's head up. Oh, they get ready to cut my throat. You've been told, brothers and sisters. It's right there. You read it. I didn't write this. I didn't make it up. This is what you're facing. Now, you can't deny 1619, that's their record. Our enslavement started 2019 was 40 years. 2020, the plague came in, just like they said, they killed the firstborn and elderly, killing them. And false Israel is catching it worse than anybody else. But it's not killing black original people. That's a fact. Now just go Google World Health Organization, right? Don't take my word for it. I said, I don't lie to you, but I tell you, I don't want you to believe anything I say. I tell you the facts, you can just prove it. Because anything I tell you, you can prove it. Not like these other people, you can't prove a damn thing. None of these religious, none of these preachers tell you. You can't prove any of it. You just got to accept it. See? While you accept it while you're passing the dough. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. Okay, brothers and sisters, we're going to our audio brothers and sisters. Okay, audio brothers and sisters out there. This is Black Alert section, Black Alert hour of the Fire Zone. Fire Zone out. What's going on here? Going on here? Okay. Okay. Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters.